Beeman. I'm a professional certified coach who specializes in working with rising leaders who are wanting to make that shift from success to significance. I'm based here in North Carolina, USA, where my allergies are in full bloom. So please forgive me for the coughing and sneezes that might happen here today. And I've been coaching for the last 16 years, and I've had the privilege of working with clients and leaders all over the globe. So welcome. So today we're going to be talking about, we're going to open a conversation around how to elevate your leadership effectiveness. So as Simeon and I were talking about today's topic, I realized that the last thing that I wanted to do was come on this webinar here and talk at you about leadership. Each of you are already leaders, likely in your own right, and quite successful at what you do already. The old adage of preaching to the choir comes to mind. So instead of that, instead of just being a talking head today, what Simeon and I discussed and landed on together on the format today was we'd like to have it far more interactive and conversational around a topic that I believe is going to have significant impact for you and your career. So as Lisa mentioned, during today's conversation, there'll be a number of times where we'll stop presenting and we'll ask for your interaction. And so I'd invite you to share your insights, your ideas, and even your questions via the Q&A function that's on the Zoom screen. So go ahead and familiarize yourself with that feature, although I'm sure, as many of us in this world, Zoom is quite a familiar app, so hopefully you have no trouble there. So as we continue today, what I'd invite you to do is close your email, silence perhaps your messaging tools, such as Slack or your text messages, and exit out of maybe other applications that you might have open and give your full attention to the conversation that we're going to be having today so that you get the maximum value out of the next few minutes that we have together. So here's the agenda. We're going to be, if I glance over at this screen, that's where the PowerPoint is. So today we're going to be talking about what leadership is, right? What it looks like, why it's important or significant, what the obstacles are to being an effective one. And then within the obstacles portion, we'd like to have some guide you through one framework that's designed to expand your view to see more strategically on what you could do differently with your leadership. And you'll be invited to identify at least one action that you can test or experiment with as you continue to elevate your influence and the results and impact that that produces. So appreciate your partnership with that. And so if we can go to the next slide, I'd like to open this conversation. So the question is, what is effective leadership? And I'd invite you to consider what this might be, like how you might define effective leadership. Kenneth Blanchard defines it. He said, the key to successful leadership is influence, not authority. And so in today's work environment that is fast-paced, right, geographically separated, all of us here as panelists, we're working remotely, as I'm sure many of you and your teams are too. And then we have VUCA, right? Things are volatile, they're uncertain, they're complex and ambiguous, and highly competitive. And so we're continuing to see a shift in leadership effectiveness from command and control type of models of leadership to greater value being placed on the results and impact that come from collaboration, from communication, and executives and leadership leveraging influence far more than simply authority. So again, you've likely experienced both effective and ineffective leadership. So as you think about what effective leadership is or what it looks like to you, I would invite you to share those ideas in the Q&A area.
Yeah, and please do take advantage of this opportunity, because one of the great benefits of webinars is that we get to learn from each other's insights as well. So, yeah, take the next minute or two, think about what effective leadership means to you, what you've tried to do to provide that, perhaps for your team, and essentially what kind of environment needs to happen in order for there to be effective leadership. And we'll just give you a couple of seconds here of a pause.
And I'm seeing a contributor says servant leader, somebody who's humble, listens empathetically, shares vision, successes as they grow and develop the team.
Yeah, absolutely. This the servant leader element of things has been defined differently, but at the end of the day, the core of it is leading by example, right? So
Mm.
the idea of having the CEO also be the one in the manufacturing plant, kind of running the some of the assembly lines, just to understand the business itself. Absolutely. We have another one here, James. Listen, inspire, and connects.
Mm.
What do you think about that?
Isn't that good though? Um, because a leader who's disconnected, right? If the people, the followers, don't have a sense that the leader is connected to what the challenges are, what the opportunities are, right? A leader can lose trust, as I think somebody else mentioned here in the question and answer area too, and it can be difficult to move forward. And trust is often created by listening, by building those relationships and demonstrating the fact that you're listening.
Yeah. Another person here mentions about needing to be in tune with the environment and able to apply different styles of leadership. So that's something that you'll talk about later, James.
Mm. Yeah, situational, right? The context, the situation demands different things from the leader. Absolutely.
Oh, empathy and people development. Absolutely. Leading from the front. Yeah, that's another comment there.
Mm.
So James, I think we have sort of a good comprehensive idea from the group here. Did you want to kind of move on now to kind of, oh, we have one more here. A leader must first understand what it is to follow. Okay.
Mm.
We can lead. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
there's a paper written by somebody mentioned the military earlier about often we focus on leadership, but there's this paper that's actually written about the 10 principles of followership, which is often overlooked in the leadership space. So that's a
Okay.
great mention there.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, in the interest of time, I guess, James, maybe we can kind of move on to what your professional experience has been for effective leadership.
Yeah, you can move to the next slide, Simeon, and it was summarized really well, I think, by so many of the comments already made, right? So a leader needs to be able to identify, communicate, inspire the team towards a clear and compelling vision. When that doesn't happen, right? Followers feel lost or confused, and there's a massive waste of time that happens. Fostering relationships. Often what I see as leaders progress through an organization is that the skills that got them to their current level aren't the same ones that are required to excel in their current role or beyond, right? And often these are those human skills, those people skills of being able to build and deepen trust so that it can drive impact. And somebody mentioned the book by Marshall Goldsmith of What Got You Here Won't Get You There. It's a great resource as well. And then thirdly, delivering results, right? The leader must produce results in order to be seen as effective, whether they be revenue numbers, products launched, customer service metrics like the Net Promoter Score, NPS score, or even in the nonprofit sector, right? There may be other key performance indicators that are connected to the realization of the mission. So results matter in leadership. So let's go to our next question, which is why is effective leadership important? And so, as I thought about this, right, I think about leadership guru John Maxwell. He said everything rises and falls with leadership, And each of you have likely seen great organizations and teams, right, sunk by poor or weak leadership. And you may have seen poor performing or teams or mediocre companies bolstered by strong, visionary, bold, or collaborative leadership. So as you think about why effective leadership is important, what comes to mind for you? So I'd like you to add those ideas to the Q&A portion here. So why is effective leadership important?
And James, while people are entering in their responses, I'll share a little bit about, from my perspective, why effective leadership is important. I mean, primarily, people come first, right? And as the adage goes, people leave people, not companies. And so effective leadership really sets the tone for how successful people can be, even in their own lives, right? Their own personal skill sets. They want to be able to expand that and stretch that out. So that's been really important in my life.